Kind of funny. We're riding out here, and Frankie especially would not come on this end of the covered arena when there was a horse on the TV. He was scared of the horse on the TV. So it's amazing. You don't know those kind of things until you do it. When I had this barn built, I had quite a few custom features built into it. I knew there were some things that I wanted, and little things that would make a really big difference. And I'll go over those things here. I figure we'll walk through the barn and go over a couple things. To start with, this is my wash rack. You see me do a lot of videos in here. I did not want a drain in the floor, because every barn that I've been to that had a floor drain at the wash rack, it gets clogged up with hair and it just makes a mess. So what I have here, the floor tapers out the back and the wall stops a couple of inches before the concrete. So when I'm rinsing horses, it goes out the back, and the ground just kind of tapers off towards the drainage ditch that drains my pond out back. And there's not enough water here to make the ground stay wet over there all the time. It'll be wet in the afternoon, but it's really not that bad. It's not that much water. So that's what I did here to make the water drain and avoid a drain in the floor. You see my saddle pads are hanging up there. They'll get a little bit sprayed with water, but it's not really that big a deal. We're in a very humid climate, so they're going to be wet anyways. So that's where my saddle pads are. Bathing stuff's right here. On this side, this stall is separated from the rest of the stalls. When I have a horse first come in, I try to put it in this stall for at least a couple days so I can watch for runny noses and that kind of thing, just to make sure they're not bringing something into the barn. It's not really truly an isolation stall, because we're handling this horse and we're handling the other horses, but it does give us a chance to make sure that there's nothing obvious going on with the horse that comes in right off the bat. The barn aisle is 16 feet wide, which gives us plenty of room, even with the chairs and stuff in here, the back of truck in, unload feed, unload shavings, that kind of thing. And I've got roll down doors on both ends that we can pull the doors down and close it off from blowing rain, wind, really cold weather. We can stop the wind from blowing through. And that width aisleway, it gave me enough room to hang these tie lines in the barn aisle, and we can still walk horses past the horse that's tied there and not be in any trouble. The horses have to learn to get along. I mean, if you have a horse that's really bad about kicking it out of the horses, you're not going to get that far away. But everybody needs to learn to get along. That's part of what I believe. You should be able to walk horses past a horse tied, and both of them should be able to get along and behave. So I have that. The concrete in the aisleway right here is about an inch lower in the middle than it is on the two sides. That way, if water gets spilt, we bust a hose, the water runs to the middle, and then it slopes out this end over here. And that way, anything that gets spilt, water line gets broke, it's going to run out the door and not into the stalls. And the other benefit of that is we can come in here however often we want to. It's usually about once or twice a year, and pressure wash the floor and clean the floor and make it look nice. And we can do that, and the stalls don't get wet. They don't get wet from the water. And I'll talk about the stalls a little bit more in a minute. On each end, I have a gable fan, an exhaust fan on both ends that's variable speed, and on high, with both fans running at the same time, it will circulate all of the air out of the barn once about every 12 minutes. We live in a pretty hot environment, and getting air circulating is pretty important. And above each stall, every stall has the windows like you see above the wash rack here. So the exhaust fan will push air out, it'll pull air in the doors, and it pulls air in the windows. So the horses that are in the stall actually will get some airflow coming in the window and then out the end. So there's always air moving around. In addition to that, I have these fans in the barn aisle to help move the air in the barn aisle. Just trying to keep air moving. It'll get warm in here, but it never gets miserable hot. It's always cooler in here than it is outside. The insulation that we have blown on the roof helps keep the sun from radiating through. So no matter how hot it is outside, it's like standing in the shade here. So it's comfortable, it's pretty nice. We do have hot and cold water in the wash rack, which is very nice. We don't need hot water often, but we have it when we do need it. So we can rinse horses all year round. And that's very beneficial. I really like that. In the corner up here, I've got a little small air compressor mounted so that we can bring the tractors and everything in here and air up tires. That is very handy. And then I have our TV mounted right here. We can put things on TV if we get videos from our runs at horse shows. We can put them on the TV and we can watch the runs and we can talk about them, and we can put whatever we want on the TV. I typically have Gunsmoke or something like that going on the TV during the day. And this door is a kitchen. We've got a refrigerator where we keep our water and stuff, washer and dryer, medicine cabinet, that kind of thing. That is climate controlled. We've got a bathroom right here. That is also climate controlled. And I keep my tack in here in this closet. Really convenient. I just roll up the door and I'm ready to work. And I'll work out of here to the wash rack. It's right across the barn aisle here. And this is climate controlled. Really convenient here, really nice to work out of. And then when I'm done, I can close it back down. See, we got a little bit of decorations up. I have one of the girls that works for me, I have her try to put something up whatever the season is, and this is what she could find for spring. We don't spend a lot of money on it, so it's a little cheesy, but it's something. We got fish hanging up down the barn aisle. Thank you, fish and pineapples. So there's another tack closet right here that's just like that one. And in this room is more tack. This is the client's tack, my student's tack. Feed is in here. And then I have a tool bench in the far back corner of here. And this is all climate controlled with mini split systems. So that helps keep the humidity down, keeps the saddle from getting mildewy. The other part of that is it does dry the saddles out, which is a balance. They're either going to be really wet and mildewy if I don't put them in a climate control, or they're going to be dry because they're in climate control. So that's why I always have a squeaky saddle, because it's kept in a climate controlled area to keep the mildew down. I either get squeaky saddles or I get mildewy saddles. I'd rather have squeaky saddles. The stall fronts, we had those ordered and shipped in, and everything in here inside we finished out ourselves. A company came in and put up the structure, the building structure, and we finished everything else inside ourselves. And the floors in the stalls, this is Phantom, by the way. The floors in the stalls are stall saver mats. If you're not familiar with stall savers, they are a permeable mat, so the urine and stuff will go through the mat, and then we put a citrus cleaner on it that breaks down the urine under the mat, and that's how we're able to keep nice dry stalls. In our area, all the dirt is really sandy, so we didn't really do anything underneath to help the moisture, to help the urine percolate through. And just in our soil, that's the soil that we have. If we would have done something, we would have replaced it with what we already had. And the dividers in the stalls are metal track on both ends. That's what's in between the stalls, like a C-channel track. And then I drop 2x6 boards down in that track, and that's what's in between the walls. And then I put some vertical supports. That way the wall has some give. It's not firm. If I get something in here that's going to kick it, they're not kicking a really hard wall, but they're not going to tear up the wall either. I really like the balance of it, having give, but not having too much give. And as we walk down This is Nick in this stall. That's Lena in that stall. Kimber, Shelby, that's the one I can't never remember her name. Over in this stall. And outside the stalls, we just have some halter racks hanging up just to grab a halter. And this is where we hang up their winter blankets. All the winter blankets are taken down right now. And going out the end of the barn, that is Travis on that side, Traveler. He wanted to see, he's watching us watch him. And Lucy and Hank is on this side over here. And again, we have roll-up doors on this end. I've got security cameras all throughout, and I have internet in the barn, and then there's another Wi-Fi box there. And then we can pull this door down here. Out here in my covered arena, to your left, inside that box is another TV. When I'm doing the lives, that's the TV that I can watch and make sure the live's coming through. And then we'll, sometimes I'll put on a horse show or something while we're riding out here. It's kind of funny. We're riding out here, and Frankie especially would not come on this end of the covered arena when there was a horse on the TV. He was scared of the horse on the TV. So it's amazing. You don't know those kind of things until you do it. And of course, I have a hose. I can water the covered arena, and then the covered arena is lit. The covered arena is 60 feet wide by 80 feet long. That's how big the roof is. I have it's about 5 feet off of the barn on this end, and then the panels are about 10 or 12 feet past the end of the barn. So it actually gives me about a 60 by 95 riding area that I can ride in. And we're still working on getting it so that water don't run in that end down there, but we'll get that pretty soon. In the future, I'd like to put a row of lean-to stalls on this side over here, this side over here, but that's in the future. We'll see. But that's a walk through the barn, kind of talking about the features of the barn when I had it built. And if you got any questions, put them in the comments. I know a lot of people ask me about this covered arena. It comes from Carolina Carports. Makes it so I can ride no matter what the weather's like, and it's very nice to ride in. A little bit limited what I can do because of the size, but I don't ever have to miss a day of riding. I have a video, I think I have a couple of videos about showing us building the barn and how some things are done, and I know I have a video about how the walls were put up in between the stalls. That was something I came up with myself, and I really like it. I'll put a link here at the end of the video so that you can watch that if you're watching on YouTube. Until next time, thank you for watching.